to another one of our Woodee Cookout Lives. I'm going to have to shout today because the wind is howling around us. So if you can't see, if you can't hear me, please just make a comment. So today, because it's autumn and those winds are drawing in and it's getting colder, we've got a delicious, really warming, comfy dish for you today. So we are going to show you how to cook a delicious roast chicken in this here fire pit. So I've got it in here to show you, and then I'll show you exactly how we're going to do it. So I'm going to bring it to the camera because it's still hot. So let me see, can you see this, James? If I take the lid off, and if I take, bear with me a second, if I take that off, can you see that? We are going to be cooking delicious roast chicken. Right, let's get on with it. I'm going to put this one down and we'll come back to this one later. And in the meantime, let's get cooking. So, today we're cooking on kiln dried wood from our friends at Certainly Wood. So we've got a really good body of heat in here now. And the reason that I like to cook on wood doing this dish is it's really easy to add wood as you go along to add more fuel. So today it's really windy, and so what that means is all that oxygen is getting into your fire, and so it is helping it to really get going, but it also burns quite quickly too. So the first thing that we're going to do is just tend to our fire, just make sure that it's really burning through, because we're going to be moving this fire to one side in a minute. So I'm going to get my lovely Woodee chopping board, and we're going to be cooking today in a Dutch oven. So here it is. Take the lid off and put it down, and I've just put a tiny little bit of oil in the bottom, and I'm just going to swirl that around now just to stop it sticking. So in the base we're going to put some root vegetables. So we're going to use some nice seasonal root vegetables today. So if I take first of all my knife, so we're going to cut an onion. And you want it chunky because you don't want anything that's going to mush up or anything that's going to burn and shrivel up. So we're just going to cut our onion. Excuse the tractors behind me, the potato harvester. So we're going to cut it up and we're going to layer it into three, and we're going to put it into the base of our Dutch oven. And as it goes, I'll show you. So I've got some lovely organic carrots. I've washed them. I'm just going to take the tops off, and I'm going to cut those into really good chunks, so maybe 3 in that one and 2 in that one, so you can see really decent sized things. This is going to add a lot of flavour to it. So next, a little bit of leek, take the end off, and again just some big chunks, maybe 3 of those. Put that one back and just put that around the side, and then some mushrooms. So I'm going to take off the stalk and put that in, and then we're just going to cut them in half. So just a couple of mushrooms, just to give that lovely flavour, and then some garlic. So this is huge garlic, so let's put that in there, that'll burn. So we're going to leave the cloves of garlic whole. So look at that bad boy. So that's going to go in, and then we're going to use some miniature pumpkin. So if I brought myself out a spoon, I'll just cut it out. So you take out the middle. Spoon would have been more helpful here, but just take it out. Just going to put that down to my side. Make sure you get all those seeds out, and then peel it. So depending on what type of pumpkin or squash that you've got, some of them are much harder, the skins are thicker than others. So until you start, you really don't know. So let's have a look. We're going to take that off, and then we're going to cut it in half and in half again. So you can see really chunky. So that's going to add some lovely colour and flavour. So I think that we have got our vegetables just about ready. We've got enough of that. So let's put this down into our bin over here, which you can't see. And then we're going to prepare our chicken. So let's have a look. First of all, let's just get ourselves sorted. Put that in the fire, our chicken. So as you know, I really like working with local producers. So I'm delighted to have this lovely chicken from CJ Gibbons in Hay-on-Wye, our local butchers. Please use yours. This chicken is about 1.5 kilos, which is perfect for our Dutch oven. And so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare it. So we're going to put half a lemon inside, and then we're going to put some thyme inside it too. So we're just going to put that just straight into the cavity. Take some thyme, a nice bunch of thyme, and we're going to put that in as well. We're just going to put that into there. And then we get our string. Just give my hands a bit of a wash, get all that pumpkin juice off it. Always handy to have some washing up liquid by your side when you're cooking, especially with chicken, because you don't want to mix that with everything. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to tie this, because when you take the chicken out, it's going to be really hot. So what you want to do is to tie it so you can lift it out. So we're going to take a piece of string, something about that length. We're going to cut it off. We'll try and cut it off. Right, so I'm going to take it. Actually, let's put that on here so you can see it better. So we're going to take it. You see that? I'm going to tie it around Carson's nose down here. I'm going to tie it in a knot to bring it together. Some of them are more easy than others. And then we're going to tie it around these legs. So let's have a look and bring it together. Perhaps this piece of string isn't quite long enough. Let's tie it tight down here. Doesn't matter if it crosses over a little bit. Tie it tight, and then you're going to make a loop. So use the rest, tie it up here, and then you've got a knot. And you can cut anything that's too long off and go in the fire. And so now you should be able to lift your chicken up. So we will bring our Dutch oven up. So can you see in here the vegetables that we've got? So some lovely chunky vegetables just to lie it on. And we're going to, because the chicken is quite big, anything really bulky, put round the edges and just arrange it so that it's nice and as flat as you can get it. So we're going to lift our chicken up and we're going to pop him into there. And again, let's put that down. So just tuck things in. Anything sticking up a bit much that's going to cause your chicken to raise above the lid, put in. So what are we going to do now? We're going to season that really well. Some salt and pepper. You could have seasoned the vegetables as well a little bit. So put that on the top, some nice cracking pepper on there. Give it a good old go. And of course we're going to put this into flame, so you don't want it to burn. So if I just put that down just a second, what you're going to do then, it's a good idea to take a piece of greaseproof paper or something like this, and get yourself a knife and a big wad of butter, and we're going to put that on the top. That's one side. And then using your fingers, you're just going to press this down, because this is going to sit on the breast of the chicken to help to keep it moist and also to protect it a little bit. So just there, perhaps I'll open that up just a little bit more. So can you see that? So we're going to put that, let's take our chicken again. That does look quite, let's have a look, let's move that so we can push him in a little bit and put the vegetables around. Right, so easy peasy. I'm going to put that onto here. So that's the idea. Now of course, if we put this chicken into there, it's just going to burn. So what are we going to use? We're going to use some liquid. So you could use some white wine, but we love using cider with this. So our friends at Newtonport Cider, we've got some of their Garston Goose, which is our favourite. And we're going to put about half a bottle into the bottom of here. So around the vegetables, we're just going to pour that on. And I used the other half a bottle earlier. So we're going to use that. Then we're going to put in half a pint of water. So very carefully, we'll put that into the side. It's about half. And cold water, not hot water. So let's tuck that in and let's get our lid. Put the lid on the top. The Dutch oven is made of cast iron and the lids are really heavy. If you've got, so this lid, if I show you, because it's got feet so you can turn it over and use it as a dish, this adds extra weight to it. If yours doesn't have that, and you don't feel it's heavy enough, and you need to, and there's a gap, if you put a big stone on that in there, it'll just help to press it down, and that's what I did earlier with a different Dutch oven. So let's see. We want to put our Dutch oven into the centre of this heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to move out. Can you see in there all those red lovely coals? So we're going to make a space in the bottom, put some of these around, and we're going to lift our Dutch oven and we are going to put it in the middle of there, right on the, so it's level. And just so that it helps to give the top of the chicken some heat and to help cook from above, we're going to just put a couple of bits of these flaming logs just onto the top to help that cook. Okay, so can you see that? So we've got the heat around the outside, and as I said, this is really windy. So what I'll probably do in a minute is add some more wood. And what happens when you add some more wood? Of course it's going to smoke because you're adding fresh wood and the moisture locked into that wood is going to escape. So let's get some of that in a second. In the meantime, let me show you what we're going to cook with it today. So we are going to make some Hasseltop potatoes. So these are just a different variation on a potato for you to try. I keep calling them Hasselhoff potatoes, but I think that's just a slip of the tongue. So what we're going to do, get my chopping board back out. You want small potatoes for this because otherwise they're going to take too long to cook. This dish is going to take somewhere between 40 and 50 minutes, depending on the heat of the fire and the size of your chicken. So you can see now, because I've taken the flame away from the wood on the top, so it's starting to smoke because there's nothing to keep it burning. So you might take those off in a minute and I'll show you. So what are we going to do? So a Hasseltop potato, take a small potato and thread it through one of your skewers. This just means you get an even cut. So these are our beautiful new Woodee skewers, which are going to be for sale soon. So I'm going to put one on there and I'm going to take a knife and about 3 to 4 mil apart. Actually, James, I might just move that a minute so that you can see me and you're not covered in smoke. Right. We'll put that on in a second. So take this, put it on a board, and about 3 or 4 mil cut down to the skewer. You could do it without a skewer, but of course when I've done that, I cut the potato in half. So this is always just a good tip from the Woodee chef Sue. So try not to take too many bits out. And of course if you're cooking a longer dish, you could use slightly bigger potatoes, but something this size is perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to take it off, and then into that potato we are going to slice up some garlic, just very thinly. And so this one's got a couple of natural, can you see that, those holes? Naturally we're going to pop a couple of bits of garlic into there. So you've got a lovely little potato, and the reason for doing this of course is to help it to cook a lot easier and a lot faster. Sorry about the wind, hope you can still hear me. So this is what you're aiming for. So I have already got a couple in here. So into here I'm going to add this one. So I've got 3 little potatoes now that I've done, and you're going to put them into 2 layers of silver paper. So let's get rid of our skewer. Let's put that down there. So we've got 2 layers of paper, and onto that a little bit of rapeseed oil to help them cook. Let's have a look. A good old glug of that on each one. And then for a little bit of taste and to match in with our chicken, we are going to put a little bit of thyme just inside there. That's probably enough. And just whole, you haven't got to strip it. So then, can you see that? We're going to take our corners and we are going to make a parcel. So you want there to be some air in there. You don't want it to be totally wrapped like a jacket potato. A little bit of air in there. And then you've got like a little purse, something to lift. So we are going to pop these onto the coals. And obviously the smaller the potatoes, the quicker they're going to cook. So this is going to take around 45 minutes, as I said, 45 to 50 minutes. So your potatoes you want to do around the same sort of time. So you can see now that the wood is starting to burn, and really we want to put a little bit more wood in there. So let me put my chopping board down and let's put those in. So this is the chill and grill wood from Certainly Wood. I love using their wood. It's local, they're local to me, within 10 miles, and it's lovely and dry. So we're going to expect this now to start to smoke a little bit, as I said, but don't worry about that, because a recipe like this you would normally go away and come back. So if you're in the garden or you want to go for a walk, this is a fantastic recipe. Let's put another little bit in. So what's happening in there? So that liquid has all started to bubble up, and so you're getting heat all around, but you're getting steam as well, which is hopefully making your chicken very succulent. So that's what's happening in here. So how can you tell if your chicken is cooked? Well, with chicken, you want to make sure that it's above 65 degrees, so centigrade. So where is my little thermometer? So this is a really handy thermometer. So it's just a thermal probe that I just got online, and currently the temperature is saying here, because we're above the fire, is 22. So you want to put this into the deepest part of your chicken, and in a few minutes we'll have a go at that. Obviously it hasn't been cooking long enough yet, and you want to start to see that temperature rising. So you can try it in the leg, and of course then down into the breast as far as you can. And when that reaches 65, then that's cooked. If last night I did this recipe, and I didn't have the flame very hot. I had a low and slow cook. So probably because I was out busy doing some jobs, it probably on a lower flame took about an hour and a half. And on that, it wasn't crispy skin because it was just more steamed, but the temperature was perfect and the chicken was really succulent. So don't worry if you open it and you've been cooking it longer and the skin isn't as brown as the one that we've done. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put, well, let's just have a look what's going on inside there before we start to see. So I don't know. So can you hear that? That's the sound, and I'll put that back on. That was the sound of all that liquid bubbling up. So that's really starting to cook now. So that's going to start to steam those roast veggies in there, and it'll start to work on it. So let's get and see what it looks like at the end, because obviously we've got busy things to be doing on a Saturday morning. So if I just get the one, our blue Peter one that we cooked earlier. So let's see. So here's our Dutch oven, and the thing about this is it keeps really warm. So if you're not going to eat it for half an hour, don't panic, and actually leaving it for 10 or 15 minutes to allow those juices to settle and to rest, then that's perfect. So I'm going to take my lid off and just put it in there, and as you can see, that has totally gone brown on there. And our chicken in here is beautifully crispy. So I think, let me get I just tip that into there. And we'll get this out and have a look at it. So let's have a look at our spring. Put it on the floor and put my spatula and put it into our jar. Sorry about this, it's not easy to show on my lap, it is so heavy. So, oh, that looks really good. So, some of these roast veggies around here, they are so crispy and delicious. A lovely onion in the bottom. Let me show you. Right, so here we have it. Can you see that? So let's see what knife I brought out with me to use. We just have a cut into that. Oh, look at that. Can you see that, James? Oh, that is so good. That is so moist. That is so succulent. That's delicious. Just cut into here a little bit more. And our caramelised vegetables on the one side, which of course have been against the side of the pan. Gosh, those are melt in the mouth. Let's just try our pumpkin and see what's happened to that. So again, caramelised on the one side. That's lovely. So if you've added enough liquid, you're going to have some lovely gravy in there. So if you wanted to thicken it up and put it back into the fire when you've taken the chicken out, you can do that, add a little bit of corn flour to it. But this is absolutely perfect to have with your roast vegetables. And now let's just see what those potatoes look like. So again, here are some that we cooked earlier. Can you see those, James? Okay, so these are the Hasseltop potatoes. So let me get my knife and fork. And let's cut into that. Beautiful. So again, nice and crispy on the one side, and it's allowed that heat in. Let's cut into that. That's lovely, really soft in the middle. So we've got a little taste of the garlic coming through there, and the thyme is on it. That's absolutely perfect. So if you've got 6 of you, which we're allowed at the moment, you could do a little packet of potatoes for each person, and then to serve up with some roast chicken. The other thing, of course, if you want to cook your chicken this way and you don't want to have it as a whole chicken, you could do a pulled chicken, and you could have that in wraps, and you can have some of your potato alongside that. So again, this is a really versatile recipe that you can use. So let's put that to one side and have a look before we finish at what's going on. So I don't know if you can hear that above the wind and the tractors, but the potatoes that we've just put in with that oil, that's really starting to crackle now. So if you've put it in a really hot place, turn them periodically, excuse me, so that they get cooked evenly on all sides. So let's just take off this and have a look at what we're doing. So take it off slowly so you don't get anything in there. Can you see in there, James? Can you see that bubbling away? So that's perfect. We're not going to do too much. Did you get it? About halfway through cooking, set a timer for about 20 minutes and have a look. And check down the side, because if all the liquid is gone, add another half a pint of water. So that's why we had a pint at the start. Add another half a pint to it. And if, as I said, you're cooking it long and slow, come back to it again in 20 minutes, and if it's still, the temperature isn't up, then add some more water. So you could always add a little bit more, the other half of your bottle of gasping goose, or you can add some more water. So really, this is all about getting to know your fire pit, the fuel, and the weather conditions. So it's always different. Every day that you cook in a fire pit, it's different. So as you can see, I've added some more wood, and we'll have to add some more wood again in about the next 10 or 15 minutes to that. So I'm just gonna, before the whole family come out, I'm gonna cut myself a little bit more chicken. And I will say that. And this has been in the Dutch oven now for a good half an hour since we cooked it, and it is still steaming. That's really good. I hope you've enjoyed this cookout. You can find it, you'll find it on our blog at thewoodee.com. Today we've been cooking on a 600mm stainless steel fire pit, and we haven't used a grill or a lid, so you can do this if you just have a fire pit at home. This is really, really easy. Continuing with our autumnal theme, and of course we're leading up to Halloween. Next week we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and we're going to be showing you how to make your own marshmallows, and they are absolutely delicious. So we'll be in the Woodee kitchen next week, and then we'll come out and toast them afterwards. So please join us then, and the week after we're going to be making something with a whole pumpkin. So I'm Louise Wright. Thank you very much for tuning in to our live cookout, and I'll see you next week.